Cheers. We got some matchas. The new coffee with BAO. Yo, this is my friend Julie. Julie and I met at the beginning of the pandemic, right? 2020.
Has it been 3 years? 3 years?
Damn.
Was it, I think, how did it happen? I think we're in the same Discord server, and was it the ACN, Asian Creative Network?
Yeah,
server?
for music makers.
Yeah, and then, I don't know,
And then you proactively hit me up and you were like, hey, do you want to see what I'm doing and see how you can help? And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm glad you hit me up, because now we tight and shit.
Yeah.
No, but I wanted to share some of your story because in this year, your music stuff has had like, so Julie is an EDM writer, producer under the name Hidden Axis. How do you spell Hidden Axis, Julie?
That's HIDDEN, so hidden, hiding, and then space axis, AXIS.
And you released your first single earlier this year, right?
It was my first ever song was last September, or last year. And then I had a release October 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else was like a first for you this year? There's been a lot of firsts for you this year.
Honestly, like if you think about like last year and this year, I just would not have expected to be playing the shows and just meeting the people and doing the things that I've been doing this year. And I'm just like not, I mean, what else has been a first? Just playing all those shows in those different venues that like artists I look up to have just played at, have been on the main stage, and just being able to, I'm just so grateful. Yeah, it's crazy, you know, opening up for some of my favorite artists. I only expected like maybe 4 shows max.
Yeah.
It's been like close to 10 this year, and it's just once it keeps going, it keeps going.
Where do you think that momentum came from?
It's interesting. I think, you know, like when you put yourself out there and take that first scary step, like my very first club show was last November. Yeah, last November at 10:15 Folsom. And I could remember that very first show. I was like, could not breathe. I was feeling like throwing up. I was like hyperventilating. I was like, and I was like, yeah, that was actually just last November, and just now we're on show close to 10 plus, and I don't get nearly as nervous. I still get nervous, but just, yeah, but to answer your question, the momentum, I think just like that first step, that first really initially very scary step, and kind of just like leaning into it all and embracing it and just like letting magic happen, like getting out there, getting the exposure, letting the magic happen for you, and just like trusting that it you know.
Trust? What's
Trusting
that?
is all good. I don't know, what is trust? I'm still working on it as
like?
well. Like, what is that? Like, right? Like, it's a very, because for me, it's like a lot of times, like I'm more skeptical leaning. It's like, what is, like, how do you know? Or like, yeah, trust is interesting for me. How do you know? And I feel like trust has to be earned in some way. I feel like be able to prove it, right? And sometimes that's kind of detrimental because it's like,
Where did you learn that from, Julie?
Oh, good question. We're turning this into a therapy session. I think that's interesting. Where did I learn that from? I don't know, I think part of it is downplaying just some of the positive feedback that I get. In general. It's like, oh, that's not me. I don't deserve it. That's just not, I just don't feel like, I guess I just don't allow myself to fully receive. Just receiving is difficult for me, so I think that's part of it. The other part of it could just be also just like growing up and not having the easiest time connecting with folks in school, and just, you know, growing up. Yeah, and just always being skeptical of people's intentions, maybe. Yeah.
It's definitely a learned thing, right? And it's so liberating when you get past that and you're just like, I'm gonna automatically just give you trust until you violate that trust. And then all of a sudden life becomes so much more easy.
Yeah. It's kind of liberating, for sure.
Yeah. I think along with playing the shows, you've had all these opportunities to go interview and talk to some of your musical heroes too.
Oh my God, yeah, that's been, I'm not expecting that either. I'm just going on this journey and just that kind of like, you know, whole momentum and this whole journey really just started just by leaning into like, hey, like what is it that I love and love doing and, you know, music and just, it was impossible to predict all this stuff, but like as I leaned in, you know, like getting to interview my favorite artists and just, that's been amazing just, you know, because I'm a big fan of some of their music and just getting to connect that with the person and just realizing, wow, these are like really great people as well. That's been just a really good, heartfelt experience for me. Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Isn't that nice when you meet an artist you admire and they're not a total asshole?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's like my favorite thing. Like when artists are like just so down to earth and genuine and just good people, you know, because I feel like, you know, like I think before I pursued music more seriously, I had this perception, like misconception rather, that I feel like, you know, music entertainment industry can be rather shallow, superficial, things like that, and like, yeah, there may be a certain subsection that's like that, but really I've noticed a lot of the big artists and people who are successful, they're not like that, and there's, you know, there's definitely like a mix, but just it's a pleasant discovery for me as well.
Yeah, so we hear that all the time, right? About you can be a brutal leader and like instill fear in everybody to get to the top. And that usually doesn't end well or last very long. Or you can just be a kind, authentic person and naturally just rise to the top. I totally believe that. If you were to name drop like 3 people that you really admired that you got to interact with this past year, and you know, I'm sure there are more than 3, but like just name drop 3 that comes to your mind.
Ooh, that's tough. I think Ray Volpe's one of the folks I got to artist, super duper talented guy. He's fun, he's down to earth, just, yeah, he's fun and down to earth. And then, Drulu, he was, just got to talk to him, had an event with him last 1.5 to 2 weeks ago, and just one of the most down to earth, bigger artists in the scene, and just, my friend and I literally just like sat down and shared a joint with him, and, like just the 3 of us, it was hella chill, and just like, he was just down to do that with us.
Yeah.
And just talk about life and like philosophy and just
Beautiful.
really down to earth. And who's a third one? There's gotta be a third one. Shoot.
BAO.
Bravo, yes, exactly. I mean, no, but I mean, in all seriousness, no, like, you are a very special person,
Thanks.
for sure, yeah. Shoot.
It's okay. We don't have
Third
to
one.
stall the whole thing just to think of a third one.
Yeah.
What do you think? This is a really hard question.
Oh.
Like,
Okay.
what's one of the things that you learned this past year just that you didn't expect to learn? I mean, obviously you're doing music thing, but you have a life to live as well, and a job that pays bills.
Yeah. That I think it's interesting. I think part of it is just like, I'm a little surprised of myself, like being in this industry in general, because like growing up, I just was definitely a lot more introverted and just to myself. And, you know, like I mentioned, had a harder time connecting with folks in general. And, you know, just in the music industry, you're just connecting with people all the time and just connecting. And I think at first it was definitely on the more tiring side, but like, as I leaned in more and just met more people along the way, I found greater joy in that connection, like joy instead of like resistance and like. Because I'm perfectly fine being a homebody. I'm perfect. Like that's like my happy place. I got my studio. I got my like equipment. I can just do whatever I want there and just be happy with it. But honestly, this past month, even just realizing, wow, there's a lot of joy that can be found in connection. And
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's, like I say, it's going to be extremely liberating to feel that way and be so open to new experiences and new people and learning new shit.
Yeah.
What are you most freaked out about?
I think uncertainty freaks me out. Just like, I mean, like, being an artist in general, like, how can you possibly, I mean, even like in the short amount of time I've been in this industry, I just feel like there's just stuff you can't know in both a good and like could potentially bad way, but just like honestly kind of freaked out about it, but also just, you know, embracing all of that as just part of the journey at the same time. I'm like freaked out. I think freaked out and like excited almost are kind of similar sentiments there.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
is it that drives that fear?
Yeah.
Like, how do you identify what it is? But it's just, is it just a general feeling of like, oh crap, I don't know what's coming up next?
I think general feeling is part of it. And then the fear of like art is I mean, you never know how it's gonna also be, your art's gonna be received. You never know like what's gonna happen. Like, am I going to achieve that end goal of what success is to me? That's like not guaranteed no matter like, you know, what you do as well, or like how you are, I feel like, and just feelings of, yeah, am I gonna get to where I wanna be eventually? And
At this moment, are you where you want to be?
oh yeah, 100%. This
There
is
you
like,
go.
this is the journey. I love it.
So, I have this Baoism. You know, I don't believe in goals, right? And I've probably said before, the easiest way to disappoint yourself is to have goals. But if your intention is to do the thing that makes you feel really good, and have other people appreciate that too, if that's the intention and it's kind of like a more broad intention of how you want to exist in this world, then you're already there, you're already successful. And you can just live in that success as you progress constantly, forever. And it's fucking beautiful. I mean, until you reevaluate and you're like, oh, yeah, actually, my intention is to, you know, be more inward and not make art or whatever, right? It's not a permanent thing, but I'm just saying, if you're satisfied right now, there's no reason to be not satisfied just because you have some arbitrary image of what you're supposed to do next year. Because by the time you get to next year, you're a whole different person,
It's like you can't possibly predict, yeah.
right? So I hope that's not scary and it's more comforting. to know.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. More excited than scared, I would say, for this whole journey, and just,
Cool.
yeah.
So when we met, you were just learning how to produce music. You didn't know how to set
Just
up a microphone.
about, yeah.
And now you got a bunch of singles out. Your first single ever was picked up by a dance music label. And that was because, why? How did you get it in front of people?
Yeah, I just, you know, I went to this Neon Owl event, this industry mixer. I'm part of a, you know, artist collective called Neon Owl, and we throw industry mixers and panel talks as well. And went to one of their in-person events in New York, and basically submitted my demo, asking for feedback in front of, like, you know, everyone and the panelists. So, you know, I put myself out there. And then people loved it, but also there was a panelist who was like, yo, I love it, like, let me submit it to this label for you. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah, we're doing this. And just from there, yeah, I've just been really grateful. You know, I feel like more often than not, I mean, step by step, just little things I've been trying and doing, you know, scared of doing, I feel like has just more often than not paid off in a positive way. And that fear is kind of like more of an excitement. It's like, okay, like this is the right direction, and just going with that, more like leaning into that fear or excitement more, and just, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That seems to be what you're doing, and it's paying off.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah.
It's been good.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're my friend.
I'm glad you're my friend too.
Anything else that you've learned or that you want to share that feels important?
Matcha's great.
Matcha's great.
Matcha's great.
It's so soothing.
Yeah.
It opens the heart, so we can just be here talking
Matcha
shit.
chats, yeah.
Well, to sum up what I observed in our friendship and in your life in general in the last 3 years is you gotta start somewhere, and you gotta just do something. Because the universe has to react to something that you initiate. And so, the beginning of that was just you hitting me up on that Discord group and saying, hey, I heard some shit you said. I thought it was interesting. Do you want to hear my story and see, right? Like whatever you said. But that was something. You didn't need to have a fully formed product or a pitch or anything. It was that first thing. And that's been a continuous thing that I observed in you. You keep moving.
Yeah, it's important to keep moving. That's for sure.
All right, well, that's Coffee with BAO, new edition.
Yes.
Short, simple, no format.
Yeah, unfiltered.
It's the way.
Yes.
Cool.
What were you saying?
What? What?
That's it.
What is this?
Nothing, I'm just letting it run
Oh.
so you can react to it.
Oh. I'm so like awkward for the camera.